Hey, Eli. How are you?
Good.
Good. I've got, hang on. Oops. I had the slope project open and then I wrote over it. Have you gotten page 2 done yet, or do you want to work on that one?
I've got page 1 done, just not. I've got all of page 2 and one on page 2. I mean 3.
Okay. So let's just confirm on that page 2, kind of like the one that I have shown right there with all the tables and columns. You have all of your like x equals 10, x equals -6. Which 3 lines did you pick from the first column?
X equals 4, x equals 6, and x equals 10.
So those are the ones that I circled. Those are them. Okay. So did you write them like straight down, or did you go across? Like, is your x equals 6? Is it here or is it here?
It's a cross.
Across. Okay. All right. Well, I just wanted to help you out and make sure that you got all your tables right. Okay. I'm sure that you do, but let's just double check since it's just you and I anyway. Let me know if somebody else shows up. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
No problem. That's the benefit. If nobody shows up, it's like a personal tutoring session. It happens occasionally. Sorry, my writing isn't very good. I have not
You're okay.
gotten expertise on this, on writing on the screen yet. Even with a stylus, you'd think it was great, but not really. And your y coordinates could be anything that you wanted them to be. They would not necessarily have to be this. They could be
Here.
2, 4, 6. I'm sorry.
Mary Face here.
Oh, okay. Hey, Mary Faith.
Hi, Miss Sparks.
I'm just working on something with Eli right now. Thanks for letting me know she showed up, Eli.
You're welcome.
Eli, the y coordinates can honestly be anything that you want them to be, though. Okay? They don't have to be this part. This can be, it could be 2, 4, 6. It could be anything that you wanted it to be on these x equal ones.
Okay.
Okay? It does not have to be what Miss Sparks put. It just has to be where the ordered pair in that third column matches. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Is this so far, is this what your tables look like?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you feel pretty confident about these?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. How about the y equals? I'm not going to finish that then. How about the y equals ones?
Those are a little bit harder to me, but
Okay.
I got.
Which ones did you pick?
I just need I got all the y equals on the third chart, I believe. Yes, and then I'm starting on the page 3.
Which ones did you circle?
For which ones?
The y equal ones, which ones did you circle?
Y equals 3, y equals 5, and y equals 8.
Okay, I'm just going to do one then, and then you kind of use it as a pattern. And like I say, on this one, your X can be anything you want it to be. Your Y is always going to be whatever the definition of the line is. And this is a horizontal line. Oops. And the slope for all Y equals will be 0 because they're all horizontal lines. Okay? And
Yes.
your y-intercept will always be whatever that is.
Okay.
Does that help you on those?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Let's move on down. Let's pick which ones of these did you pick? Third column.
Y equals x plus 1, y equals 2x plus 6, and y equals x minus 3.
Okay. Y equals x plus 1. Okay.
Miss Marks, can you scroll up one more time?
Back up to these, baby.
Yeah.
Okay. Which ones did you pick, Mary Faith?
I did for the X, I did 4, 6, and 10.
Oh, just like that? Okay.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Okay. All right. And what did you do for the third column?
I did another X for that one.
With
Were we supposed to like organize it where like X's were on the left and the Y's were on the right, or like one row?
no, in the column 3 right here, which three equations did you pick in column 3?
Oh, I see what you're saying. I did Y equals 2x plus 6.
Uh-huh.
Y equals x minus 3.
Uh-huh.
And y equals 4x plus 3.
Okay. So both of you picked y equals 2x plus 6, correct?
Yeah.
Right,
Yes.
Eli? You picked that one too?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Do you care if I work that one here?
Yes,
As
ma'am.
is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you need to see anything else, Mary Faith?
No, ma'am.
Did you need to see the horizontal and vertical lines anymore?
Hold on.
All the x equals are vertical lines. Okay. All of the y equals are horizontal. Oops. This should say undefined, actually. All right. Are y'all understanding that? So x equals anything are vertical lines. Y equals anything are horizontal lines. Horizontal lines all have a slope of 0. Vertical lines have an undefined slope. Because if you were working out the slope form equation, a 0 would be in the denominator, and that's a no-no.
Okay.
Okay? Okay. On this particular equation, 2x plus 6, The slope is the leading coefficient on the x. So what is the leading coefficient on the x term? Here.
2.
Good job. 2. Okay, the y-intercept is the standalone constant at the end of the equation. So what is it?
6.
So there's your slope and your y-intercept. And so for my numbers that I'm going to put in here, I'm going to pick -1, 1, and 2, just because I want to keep my numbers simple. Okay?
Okay.
So now I'm going to plug in each of those numbers to find my y value. So when I plug in a -1, I multiply that by a 2, I get -2. -2 plus 6 is 4. So my y value is 4.
Can you do y equals x plus 1, please?
Yes, I can. I did this one yesterday in class, didn't I?
I think
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Y equals x plus 1. What is the understood leading coefficient on the x?
1 or 0?
1. 1 is correct. If there's no leading, if you see an x or an x squared or a y and there's no coefficient in front of it, it's always 1. They don't make you write the 1. If there was a 0 there, 0 times something, there wouldn't be anything there. So it's always a 1. Okay, what is the constant that's standing by itself in this equation?
Wait, Miss Sparks, which one are you doing?
Y equals x plus 1. And then I'll do one that you have on yours in just a minute. He just asked me if I would do this one.
Oh,
This
okay.
is, you did not pick this one.
Okay.
So I will do one for you next, okay? You can pick which one you want me to do. You can be thinking about that, okay? Eli, what is the standalone constant in this particular one?
1.
Okay. All right, so that's your y-intercept, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So your slope is 1 and your y-intercept is 1. So now what you're going to do, once again, I can pick any numbers that I want to, and I just pick some simple numbers so that the math is a little easier, okay? So these are all my x's because your x is your independent variable. So that's the one, except for when you have an equation like y equals 2 or y equals 3 or y equals 4, x is always your independent variable. So you pick anything you want to. Okay. The slopes of the horizontal lines or the equations of the horizontal lines are the only one that is like quote unquote the exception to this rule. Okay. So here I'm just going to plug in, that was on these back here because you obviously we can put anything you want in for the x and the y is still going to be whatever the equation is. So I'm just going to plug in a -1. And now I'm going to plug in a 1. And now I'm going to plug in a 2. So what I'm doing with my x's is plugging in the variable into the equation right here. And then whatever the result is my y. And then that becomes my ordered pair. So that's my ordered pair. And I'm done for that one. Mary Faith, do you have one that you would like me to do?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, which equation would you like me to do?
Can you do y equals x minus 3?
X minus 3? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay. All right. What is the leading coefficient on the x? It's understood.
1.
So that is my slope. What is the standalone constant at the end of the equation?
Negative 3.
That is my y-intercept. So now I'm going to pick my 3x variables, and I can pick any 3 that I want. And once again, I'm just picking 3 very simple numbers because I don't want to work with big numbers, number 1. And number 2, I want my math to just be simple so I can work through it relatively quickly. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I got -1 minus 3. So -1 minus 3 is -4. Now I'm going to plug in a 1. 1 minus 3 is -2. Two minus 3 is -1. So those are my 3 ordered pairs.
Okay.
Anybody else that joined Math Lab, do you have one that you would like for me to do?
Can you do y is equal to negative x plus 4?
Absolutely. Thank you for asking. All right. What is the understood coefficient on the x?
It's 1. Well, -1.
-1. Good job. Good job. -1. Because of that negative there, you've got to remember there's a 1 out front, and then that minus sign in front, change that to negative. Good job. And the standalone constant at the end of the equation is what?
4.
So yes, good job. That's the y-intercept. Y'all are doing great. And I'm hoping this is helping you guys. So now, once again, I can pick any x's in the whole wide world, but I want to, and I'm not going to pick 0 because I already know that's going to be 4 because that's my y-intercept. So I'm actually going to pick -1, 1, and 2 just to keep my math simple. All right. So I'm going to plug in minus, and then I'm going to plug in my -1 for my x. This is y equals -x plus 4. So I've got, here's my minus out front, and then my -1 in my parentheses for my substitution. And minus minus 1 is 1, plus 4, that's going to be 5. And now I'm going to plug in 1. So that's going to be -1 plus 4. So that's going to be 3. And then I'm going to plug in my 2. And -1 times 2, that's going to be -2 plus 4, that's going to be 2. So my ordered pairs are -1 and 5, 1 and 3, and then my last one is going to be 2 and 2. Is there another equation someone would like me to do?
Miss Sparks, can you do?
Yeah, okay. Eli, I'll do one for you, but who just said, Miss Sparks, will you do?
Mary Faith.
It was a girl voice. Mary Faith. Which one would you like me to do? And then Eli, let me write the one down you want too. Okay, Mary Faith, tell me yours.
The y equals negative 5x.
Negative 5x. Okay, and Eli, which one was it that you wanted?
Y equals negative x minus 9.
Okay, I'm going to do that one right after this one, okay? But I have it written down. Okay, great questions, guys. These are some good equations to think about. On this particular one, what is the leading coefficient on the x?
Negative 5.
Negative 5. There isn't anything right here, is there? There's nothing. You could think about it as plus 0. So what would the y-intercept be?
0.
Correct. So when there isn't anything next to this, so if it's y equals 3x or y equals negative 5x or y equals negative x, and there's no standalone constant, it's always 0. Okay, guys? Does that make sense? Okay, so once again, I'm just going to plug in my same old numbers that Miss Sparks uses because she's trying to keep it simple. So now I've got negative 5 times negative 1. So that's going to be a positive 5 because a negative times a negative is a positive. And now I've got negative 5 times 1. So that's going to be negative 5. And then my next one, I'm going to substitute 2 in for. I've got negative 5 times 2. That's going to be negative 10. So my ordered pairs are negative 1 and 5, 1 and 5, negative 5, I'm sorry, 1 and negative 5, and 2 and negative 10.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Eli, you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What is this coefficient on the x? This is like the one Annabella asked about.
Is it 1?
It's a negative 1 because of this. But you're right about the 1. But
Okay.
it's negative 1 because there's a negative sign out front. And I don't know if you could see it, but so it's negative 1. So the slope is negative 1, which means instead of the line looking like this on the graph, it's going to look like this.
Okay.
It actually changes the slant on it. So it's going to fall from left to right instead of rise from right. Yeah, left to right. I think I said that right. Okay, so once again, I'm just going to plug in the same numbers that I've been using because I want to keep my math simple. So now I've got y equals minus, and then inside the parentheses, I'm going to put my negative 1. So a minus 1 is 1 minus 9. So that's going to be negative 8. And now I'm going to change what I'm substituting inside my parentheses to a 1 for my next coordinate. So I got negative 1 minus 9. So that gives me a negative 10. So negative 2 minus 9, that's a negative 11. So my coordinates are negative 1 and negative 8, 1 and negative 10, and 2 and negative 11. Any others that anybody wants me to work with them?
Could you do y equals negative x?
Y equals negative x. I can. Okay, so what is the leading coefficient on the x?
Negative 1.
Negative 1. So m equals negative 1. What is the standalone constant?
0.
That's correct. So your y-intercept is 0. Good job. Good job. All right, so once again, I'm going to pick my same old boring points of negative 1, 1, and 2 to keep my math simple. So I've got y equals negative x. So I'm going to plug in, I've got to keep my minus out there, my negative or my opposite, and then I'll plug in my negative 1. So minus minus 1 is a 1. And I'm going to plug in my 1. And mine, negative 1 times 1, or the opposite of 1 is negative 1. However you want to kind of think about that minus that's outside that parentheses. You can kind of think of it as opposite. You can think of it as being multiplied by a negative 1. However you like to think about what works for you. Keep that thought in your mind. So now I'm going to plug in a 2. And the opposite of 2 is negative 2, or negative, or if you think about it as negative 1 times 2 is negative 2. So my points are negative 1 and 1, 1 and negative 1, and 2 and negative 2. Is there another equation someone would like me to do?
What does it mean on the back page where it says choose the x-intercept and y-intercept pairs?
Okay. And I'm kind of glad we're talking about this on Math Lab, because here, all of these points, this set of points here, each set, see how they're in like 8 blocks, Mary Faith?
Yeah.
There's 8 sets of points. Well, each set of point contains an x-intercept and a y-intercept. Okay? And I actually would like for you guys, anywhere there's a 16, if you picked that, I would love it. If you haven't already done the work, if you've done the work, don't change it. But if you have not done the work yet, please change your 16s to 14s. If you've already done the work, do not worry about it. I'm not going to force that out of you. But there's no way for you to plot something with a 16 on it, because there's only 15 grids in any of the directions, positive, negative, on the y or the x-axis. And I just don't want to create frustration for you. Okay?
Sparks.
Each set of these points, Mary Faith, are x and y intercepts. So you're to choose 3 sets. There's a pair. Each one of these is a pair. And you're to circle the intercept pairs that you choose, just like I've done here. Okay? So I'm going to start with number 1. The first one is the x-intercept because the y-coordinate is 0. So I'm going to do it in pink. You don't have to necessarily do that on yours, but just to kind of make it a little more exciting, I'm going to do that. And I'm going to make my y-intercept blue. Okay? And I know that's the y-intercept because the x-coordinate is 0. And if a point is going to be on the y-axis, directly on the y-axis, the x-coordinate will be 0. And if a point is going to be directly on the x-axis, the y-coordinate is going to be 0. Okay? The next thing that you're going to do is find the slope. And remember, our slope formula is m equals y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1. So I will just apply that formula to those two, and this would take 2 coordinates. I'm going to take that and I'm going to apply it here. So I'm going to do 10 minus 0 over 0 minus a minus 10. So that's going to give me 10 over 0 minus minus 10 is 10. So that's going to give me a 1. So my slope equals 1, and it's positive. Okay? Does that make sense, Mary Faith?
Yeah.
Okay. And another x-intercept is 3, 0, and 0, negative 6. So negative 6 minus 0. Did anybody pick this particular point?
No, ma'am.
Oh, how about you, Eli? Did you pick this one?
No, ma'am.
Oh, did y'all pick one of the ones that I changed?
Yes.
Did anybody? Oh, who picked the one of the ones that I changed?
Mary Faith.
Oh, bless your heart. Okay, did you already do the work on it?
No, I didn't.
I did.
Oh, okay. Oh, you'd already done the work? Okay, well, don't worry about changing it, sweetheart. It's just going to be frustrating to plot. How many of them did you pick?
2 of them.
Oh, Angel. Okay. Like I say, don't worry about changing it. I was looking at it and I was like, that's so frustrating. I don't know why. And last year I didn't notice it. I guess nobody's ever picked it before. So this year when I was looking at it, I was like, how in the world would they plot a negative 16 or a positive 16 if there's no 16 on the chart? So I've got to go back in and change that. So is there one that you would like for me to do then? I don't want to work one that y'all haven't done.
Can you do the -7 and 0 and 0 and 4?
I can. And Eli, is there one of those that you would like me to do, honey?
I picked the same one, -7, 0, and 0 and 4.
Oh, okay.
But I've already done it.
Okay, well, you can watch and see if I do it right then. Check my work for me.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm take 4 minus 0, and then 0 minus minus 7. That's going to be 4 over, and then 0 minus a minus 7 is going to be a positive 7. So my slope is 4/7, and it's positive. Did I get it right, Eli?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Well, there you go. Thanks for having my back.
Could you do the one with the 16?
Yeah, which one, baby?
The 12 and 0 and 0. Or the 14.
Okay. Do you want me to do the 14 since you haven't done it yet?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Okay. Make sure that you make that notation on your paper, okay, love? Do it just like I did it. And Eli, if you want me to do it with the 16, honey, I can, okay?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Okay. Okay, Mary Faith, it would look like that.
Okay.
14 over negative 12. And then I'm going to reduce by dividing both by 2. And I would get negative 7/6. And the slope is negative.
Thank you. Thank you.
And then we're going to get to the graphing part tomorrow in class. And did you all see that I posted on Google Classroom that our blanket and hot cocoa day is Friday?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
I bought the hot cocoa and some of the marshmallows yesterday.
You said we're allowed to bring a dessert, right?
If you want to bring a dessert, you may bring a dessert. Okay, and Eli, you wanted me to do which one, honey? I know it was one of the 16 ones, but which one?
12 and 16. 12 and 16.
Okay, so the x-intercept is the 12, 0, and the y-intercept is the 0, 16. Did I write it correctly?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so they were both positive. All right. 16 minus 0 over 0 minus 12 is 16 over negative 12. And I actually can divide both of those by 4, which is going to take that down to 4 over 3, and it's negative. So my slope is negative 4/3, and it's negative. So this is primarily, we're doing all of the algebra part today, yesterday and today. So I just want to make sure if there's any lines or any intercepts that you all want me to double check for you or do the work so you can make sure that you have them correct, now is the time. So you all should come to class tomorrow with pages. This is page 2 filled out, page 3 filled out, and then this is page 4. So that would be filled out. So page 2, 3, and 4, that's all the algebra work. Is there any other one that you all would like me to check?
Miss Sparks, on the X one where it has 6, I didn't get the y-intercept.
The X, which one, love?
It's on page 2.
On page 2.
Oh, it has none?
Yes, because it's a vertical line. It never touches the axis. Because if you're thinking about graphing it, right? And it's a vertical line running through 6, it is never once going to touch the y-axis, right?
Okay. So what
It
would that mean for on
L
10?
to the y. I'm sorry, love. Say that again, please.
What would that mean for the 10?
Same exact thing. They run vertical lines, run parallel to the y-axis, so it will never, ever, ever touch the y-axis unless it's x equals 0. And then it is the y-axis. So the intercept is every single y. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Miss Sparks, can I see page 4 again, where the examples are,
Yes, sir.
to check my answers?
Yes, sir. I think these were the only 2 that you had, weren't they? That I did today. I can do another one if you need me to. Mary Faith, and did you need me to go back to page 2, or are you understanding that okay, baby?
Yes, please.
Okay, I'm gonna let him check this, and then we'll go back and kind of revisit vertical and horizontal lines. Okay, baby?
Okay.
How are you doing on the regular lines? The like column 3 and column 4. Are you doing good on those?
Yeah, I was just confused on the slope and the y-intercept for y equals 5 and y equals 8.
Okay. Those are horizontal lines. And the slope on a horizontal line is always 0.
Okay, Miss Sparks, I'm done.
Okay.
I checked them.
All right. Did you need me to do another x and y intercept one for you so that you could check the answer?
No, ma'am, I'm okay.
Okay. All right. Mary Faith, on y equals 3, which one did you do? Y equals what?
5 and y equals 8.
Okay, so y equals 5. The y is going to be 5 all the way down. This is a horizontal line, okay? So all horizontal lines have a slope of 0. The y-intercept is going to be 5 because every single one, okay, so 5 is about right here. It goes through 5. And any x that you pick is
Oh,
going to have value.
I overcomplicate it every time.
Horizontal line always has a slope of 0. Eli, is there anything else you wanted to see, honey?
No, ma'am, I'm okay. And today, do we need to start graphing, or?
You do not have to start graphing if you don't want to. We can handle that in class tomorrow. Be sure that you bring a straight edge. If you wanted to do your vertical and horizontal lines to get those out of the way, you certainly could do that, but you don't have to. It is not a requirement. If you feel like you can graph 15 lines in class tomorrow and Thursday, then I'd say you'd be okay. If you wanted to knock some of it out, obviously you can do it. You know?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, not a problem. I'm leaving it kind of up to you guys to figure out what you think you can do in that. We will at least have a full 50 minutes in class tomorrow. So, I feel like you guys could grab 15 lines in 50 minutes, but you think about what you can do. And obviously, graphing some horizontal and vertical lines is going to be way easier than the others. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Is graphing also going to be our homework on Thursday?
Yes. What I'm trying to do is break this project up so that all that you should have left for Friday is coloring. And most people can get coloring done in the 45 minutes. But with the graphing, don't forget you've got to label each one of these. So perhaps maybe you could, I think you should be able to knock that out. That'd be 50 minutes in class on Wednesday. And then, if you spend 45 minutes, I would think you'd be able to get all 15 lines graphed and labeled.
Okay.
But whatever you think. I mean, if you feel like you need to at least do your horizontal lines today, you could do that, I guess. I just want you all to kind of think about how can I break this project up, because part of our training is when you go to college, being able to take a larger project and break it down into smaller bite-sized pieces and doing a little bit each day instead of waiting to the last minute like Mrs. Sparks kind of sometimes did. And cramming it in and panicking. Do either of you have any more questions? And would you like to see one of these graphed today?
No, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
How about you, Eli? You okay?
I think I'm all right.
Okay. And any more questions on any of the algebra part of this?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
All right. All right, then. I guess I'll see y'all in class tomorrow. I enjoyed hanging out with you.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem. Have a blessed afternoon.
You too.